Hello, everyone. Welcome to Be Here. My name is Edwin Rogers, and we have a great show for you today. We have my co-host, Max Noir, who is fantastic, and as well as Micheal Shabun, who is the VP of Marketing at Insta360. They do some amazing work. I really love their cameras. Here are a few of the ones that I actually own myself, but I even have the very first Insta360 camera that ever came out. I really, really love it. So let's begin the show. All right. Welcome back. Okay, so Max, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question. So you are in China, is that correct?
So the company Insta360 is headquartered in China. I am actually in LA.
Awesome. So we have China and US representing in the house today. My company is also in China, but I'm currently in New York.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you really quickly, Micheal, which I mean, we've known each other for years, and you guys are always doing some really cool stuff. Michael Manasori, who is from Radiant Images, you guys worked really closely together on an amazing Super Bowl project. So I want to ask some questions about that. But first, let me share with the audience what we're talking about.
Verizon used 5G and a pair of Insta360 Pro 2 cameras to pull off the world's first 8K live-stitched live broadcast of an NFL game. The feed was integrated into ESPN's live broadcast and projected into a dome 200 miles away in Miami. This is how they made it happen.
So when we were introduced to this project, this to us was very challenging because no one's ever done this before in this scale, in this kind of resolution, with this distance, and all on 5G. Well, with 4G, we're limited on bandwidth. We can't send high resolution. And when we do, there's latency. So what 5G solves is immediate latency. It happens instantly. We needed a camera that was very, very small, lightweight, super small, that could stream high resolution and could communicate back and forth very easily, and it was really reliable.
In order to achieve this daunting task, Insta360 has developed the first 8K live stitching software. The software takes 6 or 8 unstitched camera files, sends them into a remote stitching server powered by 2 NVIDIA GPUs, and automatically combines them into one fully stitched file live. You can send it into your traditional broadcast, or in our case, a dome that's located 200 miles away from the streaming location. There were a number of challenges we faced along the way. Among them was having to develop a way to transmit and convert our signal into SDI, which was something that the broadcasters demanded. But our engineers worked day and night tirelessly to bring that vision into reality. What got us really excited about this project were the applications that something like this would inspire in the future. The ability to take a 360 video, reframe it live, and plug different parts of that video into the traditional broadcast is absolutely huge. Now, any traditional broadcaster that relies on an SDI signal can seamlessly fit into our workflow without creating a ton of additional work for themselves.
We had to think about the problem and its solutions as a one whole thing. You can't just put things in the dome. You have to de-warp it, position it correctly inside that dome. But then you also need to think about the handsets, and that's a different format. It is a full rectangular that goes inside the handsets. So we had to think about all that, and that's what we delivered for Pro Bowl.
Okay, that was amazing. by the way. How did you do that? I don't even know where to begin. I guess maybe talk a little bit about the 5G implementation with Radiant Images, Michael Manasuri, who I'm trying to get on the show, by the way. He's great.
Shout out.
Sure.
Shout out.
Yeah, it came together in a really interesting capacity. So when we first started testing our 8K live workflow, it was actually with it was with an artist called Dead Mouse.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
we went into one of his shows in LA and we set up a Titan, and we set up basically two private 5G hotspots to bounce a signal from one building to another, all because we couldn't use the 5 megabits per second down and upload connection that was at the Hollywood Palladium. So we had to do a lot of things to first even test it. But once we tested it, Radiant said, "Wow, this is great. I think we can use this for some of our upcoming projects." And it just so happened that NFL called them about a week after we had this test, and they pitched them on this whole concept that we tested together of live transmitting an 8K image into a dome. So that was kind of the foundation of where we started for all of this. And once we showed that, yeah, we can actually do it, it's possible with essentially off-the-shelf technology, why not take it and do it on a bigger scale? And you know, obviously the NFL and ESPN and Verizon, that's pretty much the biggest scale that you can get, right?
That is a big scale. And what I love is the dome quality, because that takes advantage of the 360 form factor itself, that you're projecting it to a dome, not just to a rectangle, you know?
Right. So you know, that part of the feed was going to the dome. Part of the feed was taking the 360 camera and directly putting it into the ESPN broadcast. So it was really exciting just seeing where a 360 video can fit into a traditional broadcast. And I think it really opens the door to all these different applications. We have broadcasters calling us now and saying, "Wow, I only have one camera. Does that mean we can get more coverage of our event if we use a 360?"
Absolutely.
So,
and that's exactly what I've been talking about for years. Not only can you get more coverage with the 360 camera, but literally you can get angles that your cameraman might miss. Because if, for example, the action is happening over here, but the camera is pointed this way, that's gone. But with a 360 camera, everything is visible. So you can, in post or in live, literally crop the scene to whatever camera angle you want using high-end technology. I love the fact that you also have SDI out, which is what professional broadcasters need, not just HDMI, because obviously while HDMI is wonderful, if something jiggles, it's not locked, right? So if I kick the cord for some reason, it comes right out with HDMI, but with SDI, it's locked, it's completely secure, and that's what we need as broadcasters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the common request we'd been getting from partners in the professional space is, hey, our requirement and the industry standard is SDI. What can you guys do to conform to what I'm used to using? And so we have about 400 people in the company, but we still consider ourselves relatively flexible in order to make these kind of like huge changes on the fly. And so what our engineering team did was they stayed up for about a week straight before the Chinese New Year holiday. And we had people calling in from all sorts of different places day and night trying to get this workflow ready. But we finally made it happen. And so there's going to be continual optimizations that are going to come out for that. But at the very basic level, we got it up, we got it running, and we basically created an entire new workflow in under a week.
That's incredible. I was wondering, with everything that's going on in the world right now, COVID, lockdowns and stuff, how has this sort of been impacting Insta360 and maybe shifting the way that you think about workflow and things like that?
Man, it's crazy. We're getting calls from people who we never thought would have picked up a 360 camera, and they're saying, "Hey, what's the deal with this 360 live streaming, and how can we do it?" We're seeing
Yeah.
we're seeing hospitals all starting to onboard 360 cameras. They're using it as part of surgery in order to keep operating rooms less dense.
Wow.
And they're also using an 8K live workflow to get a more realistic look at what OR surgeons are actually seeing for anybody outside. We've also we've seen, you know, folks in the teleconferencing space and the remote presence space. We did a partnership with a company with a software called Avator. And with Avator, what you're able to do is take an off-the-shelf 360 camera like our 1R, and you're able to plug it into their mobile app, and up to 5 people can join and take control of your 360 feed as you're touring a factory, as you're touring a venue or a house, or all these other places that you can't really be in person these days.
Yeah, no, that's a great application. I definitely want to talk a little bit about the 1R, especially towards the end of the show. It is definitely a cool camera. The one I have a full collection of Insta360 cameras. I love many of them. I don't have the 1R yet, but I definitely want to ask some questions about it and get some information. But first, I want to talk about the other camera that I love and am saving my change to acquire. It is not. The Titan. Now, you see this image on the video, and you think like, "Oh, okay, that's the Titan. Wow, it's a no." You see this, right? You see this in my head. The Titan is like this big. It's humongous. 11K resolution. So, by the way, why do we need 11K? Because our vision 2020 is 12K, and in order for us to be able to see details in the distance, we need ultra amazing resolution, and Insta360 is bringing that. So tell me a little bit about, sell me on this camera that I love.
Oh man, well, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty easy sell.
You gave yourself away, Edwin.
The idea with the Titan is it does everything that the Pro 2 can do, except at higher resolution, higher dynamic range, higher bit rate. It's more of a cinematic camera that we're calling it. It obviously is significantly heavier. So for something like the NFL project with Radiant, even though the Titan can give you higher resolution and higher dynamic range, they still went with the Pro 2 because the Pro 2 is about 3.5 pounds versus 10.5 pounds on the Titan or so. And so when you're taking that extra weight and you're rigging it onto the cable cam, it's obviously going to be a big decision maker one way or another which camera they're going to use. Now, for an application that using a 360 camera for traditional. So if a filmmaker is creating a film, they want to get some specialty shots using a 360 camera, but they don't necessarily have a ton of gear to get a lot of this additional equipment that they would need. So, hey, why not shoot it on a 360 camera, reframe it, and put just that reframe portion into my film? With the Titan at 11K, when you're reframing, you're able to extract approximately a 4K frame 16:9. So now the deliverable that you're getting out of your Titan can now better match your standard 4K 60 footage that you're shooting with your other camera. So we're looking at this as a powerful tool for traditional as well.
Yeah, and that's just music to my ears. Like literally, I was in Hawaii before all of this lockdown started happening, and I was shooting like lots of beach footage, like long takes of beach footage because I want to work on and this is really needed right now, a beach meditation, mindfulness meditation, and the more quality footage that I can capture of the sunset and capture that dynamic range of the sunrise and the sunset, the better as a product that I'll be able to deliver. Even if the end result is going to be 4K or 6K, I want 12K capture. And I know that that's a monster eating up of cards like this right now. Just the Insta360 Pro 2 already takes about 7 cards micro SD, but I think the Titan takes, I don't even know, it's the big SD cards, and it's I don't remember, maybe 8 or something like that. 7 or 8?
9 total. There's 8 per camera and an additional card for all the stills and data.
Yeah, so it's going to be mammoth files, but the end result is going to be breathtaking and beautiful. And so that's what, I'm starting to show on the pro side of things, but not, everyone can't shell out the 15K for a Titan, but Insta360 has a whole host of more consumer action cam kind of cameras. And so let's talk a little bit about those. Let me show you the newest one, the Insta360 R. So, one, I love the music, okay?
Yep.
I gotta say that is some awesome music. But if I was to go over all these features, I'm losing my breath just watching it, okay? There's features on one little camera, so you're gonna have to break it down for me right now. That is amazing.
It's true. I think this is it's a common feedback we get is that you guys put so many features in. It's hard for me to follow what all these great things do. So yeah, let me break down some of it for you. The idea behind any one of our handheld 360 cameras is that we've seen that there's a bigger market for traditional capture than there is for VR. And what we've shown with the previous generation of our camera, the 1X, is that a 360 camera can actually be a really powerful action sports camera. It can also be a really powerful camera for filmmakers that are on a budget or don't have additional crew or want to try to get behind the scenes of themselves and things like that. So over the past 2 years, we've been building a lot of use cases for those types of captures. And with the 1R, what we've done is we've taken kind of the best of both worlds, and we've combined a traditional action camera into a 360 camera. And this is the world's first modular action camera. It also has 3 different modules. It has a standard 4K 60 wide angle. It has a 1-inch sensor, Leica edition, that was co-engineered by Leica. And we're really excited about this because essentially there's nothing like it on the market right now at this size. The only other thing that I'm aware of is the Sony RX02, and that's not really considered an action camera. And so what we're doing with, and of course there's our 360 module as well. But the most important thing for this camera is that the goal of it is to turn average filmmakers into better filmmakers. It's to turn people with limited skill set on how to shoot and produce content into better videographers, and to give them really powerful editing tools in the app so that they can pull off these really cool camera tricks and film content like the pros. So that's kind of, it's our whole brand philosophy, not just with this product, but with our professional cameras, with our predecessors, and everything we do goes into that, is that we understand that it's hard to acquire the skill set of somebody like Edwin, who's been doing this for tons and tons of years, but they want to create really good content. So what you'll see, and I can talk about this camera all day, but I guess the most important takeaways are what you can do in the app. So after you've captured your content, you have a full suite of AI features that are going to create these amazing quality edits for you. So you can do things from like auto bullet time all the way to auto. For the first time in a 360 camera, we have auto reframe, which gives you the ability to, the app itself, it will take a 360 video and it'll automatically give you recommendations of the best angles and shots and moments from that larger video, so that you're not overwhelmed up front as an editor. I think when I first got a 360 camera, my biggest challenge was, wow, there's so many options that it's almost overwhelming. I can sit here and edit this one video for hours and hours and hours. So this is kind of like, and I'm sure you guys have experienced similar things, right? So this is kind of our step in saying, hey, we want to, not only do we want to make you better filmmakers and editors, but we also want to be mindful of your time, and we want you guys to be able to crank things out quickly and efficiently. So and there's other auto editing modes in there. There's like an auto star lapse mode. So for anybody that's interested in astral photography, you don't have to really understand camera settings anymore. You can just go there, click the star lapse mode, and the camera will do everything else for you. So we're super excited about that. Beyond that, it has world-class built-in stabilization, which is our flow state stabilization algorithm. We have the ability to record 4K 60 flat video up to 5.3K flat video on the 1-inch sensor. So now you're looking at a camera that weighs 120 grams that can now shoot higher than 5K footage, which is astounding to me. And the list goes on and on. And for anybody who's interested in learning more about the specs, you can obviously watch the video that Edwin just shared. You can also go to insta360.com to the product page, and you can check out all the really cool specs online.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Insta360, like I said, I've been a fan for years. Again, here's the website, insta360.com. You can check out all the amazing cameras that they have and what they can do. I just, I am so glad to have you on the show. Max, do you have any questions? Let me see if there's any questions from.
Yeah, I mean,
some people
360 video in general.
Mhm.
I'm wondering where you sort of see the future of 360 video going, especially given that VR is sort of being accelerated right now, given what's going on.
So like, what's the future of 360?
Yeah.
Well, it's a good question, because I think if you asked this question 3 months ago, we would have a very different answer.
True.
And today
Right.
it's I think VR and remote work and teleconferencing are pretty bound now. You can see all of the great things that companies like Oculus and YouTube are doing in the immersive space, and there's a really strong push for it these days. The cameras are getting better, the streaming platforms are getting more robust. The only thing that's lagging right now is the HMD quality. So as soon as we get more robust rollouts of 8K and higher resolution, and the price point comes down, then I think we're going to see a huge leap in the amount of people who start using it professionally and from an enterprise standpoint. I think it's here to stay.
And I think also 5G,
Yeah.
right, which we keep saying on the show, but 5G, and it was so exciting to see a real amazing implementation of 5G inside of with the NFL activation. I think that is going to allow for more detailed high-end streaming with low latency, and that's what everyone is looking at. And again, everyone's trapped right now in their homes, in their and so being able to escape inside of a 360 video and being able to create those memories with these small 360 cameras like these, like for example, I have a 4-month-old and a 2-year-old, and just capturing them crawling and then being able to put that on a headset even now or 20 years later, embarrassing them when they're older, is an amazing use case that is like, it's not about tech, it's about the spirit of the technology. So a lot of the times, we forget that all these gadgets are really, really tools that now enable us to capture something. And what I love about 360 video technology is it's allowing you to capture a moment in time in its completion, not a quarter of a moment at a time or a fraction of a moment at a time, but the complete image. So with that, I'll leave us. This is our show for today. And I really want to thank you all for watching, and thank you, Micheal, for sharing all your insights and knowledge. We also, in the description, we'll be posting some discounts to cameras for people. But again, you can go to insta360.com to check out more. Thank you so much, and for joining me here. Thank you so much.